Hello children, how are you all? Welcome back to the video lecture series by Winning Edge. I am Daljinder Singh, your mentor for mathematics, and as I told you in the previous video, we'll be doing an exercise sheet based on quadrilaterals and parallelograms. So here I am and to help you out with the questions. Now keep in mind that these questions have been based with the perspective of RIMC examinations. So let's see the questions that are here. I would advise you to use your notebook alongside so you can actually get a hang of these questions, okay? So let's look at question number 1 here. In the parallelogram ABCD, find the value of x and y. So you remember from the previous video that the sides AB and side BC are parallel here and they are also equal in length. Similarly, side AB and side BC are equal and parallel in length. But here we can see the different values are written and I told you that they are equal. So what does that mean? This means that side AB, which is 3x, would be equal to side BC, which is 18. Now what does it implies to you? Obviously x equals to 6. How? 18 by 3, which gives you 6. So what is the side AB? Side AB we do not need to find because it has not asked us in the first place. We just need to find the value of x. Just in case if he had asked what is the side AB, what you would have done? You would have actually put the value of x here, which is 6, and this would have given you 18. Or anyways, this is just a confirmatory thing. Obviously the opposite sides are equal, so it is bound to be 18 anyway, okay? This side is given 26 centimeter. The other side is given 3y minus 1, which is equal and parallel. So the same thing we are going to do here. This will be 26 equals to 3y minus 1, right? Now what will be the value of 3y? 3y will remain here only. Let's divide this. And minus 1 will go on to the other side, which will become plus 1. 26 plus 1 will give you 27. And as we know, 3 9s is 27, so y will be 27 by 3, and which gives you 9 as the value of y. Alright, so these are the two values, x is 6 and y is 9. So very simple question based on the property that equal and opposite sides are parallel to each other in a parallelogram. Okay, so let's look at question number 2 here. What does question number 2 say? 4 angles of a quadrilateral are in the ratio 3:4:5:6. Okay. Find the measure of the 4 angles of a quadrilateral. Now remember, whenever the angles in a quadrilateral, parallelogram, triangle or any other figure are given in the ratio, always put that ratio into numerals. How do we do that? We add x to that ratio. For example, the 4 angles can be written as 3x, 4x, 5x, and 6x. Okay, always remember, whenever the angles are given in ratio, add x with them and place them. Alright, now as we know the property of the quadrilateral, that sum of the 4 angles of a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degree, right? So what are we going to do? We are going to add the 4 angles of a quadrilateral. What are these? So this will be 3x plus 4x, right, plus 5x plus 6x, which is equal to 360 degree. Now let's add it up. So 6 and 5 will give us 11. 11 plus 4 will give us 15. 15 plus 5 will give us 20. So this will become 20x is equals to 360 degree. X will be equal to what? 360 upon 20. 0 and 0 will get cancelled. 36 by 2 will give us x value equal to 18. Now remember, we do not have to just find the value of x, we have to actually find the measure of angles. So what were our angles? Our first angle was 6x, so which means 6 into value of x, which is 18. The other one is 5x, so this means 5 into 18. The next one is 3x, which means 3 into 18. And the last one is 4x, which is 4 into 18. So 6x becomes equal to 108 as 6 18s is 108. Similarly, 5 18s becomes 90, right? Then 3 into 18 gives us 54 and 4 into 18 gives us 72. So these are the 4 angles of a quadrilateral. Now let's move on to the next question. So question number 3 says 2 adjacent angles of a parallelogram are what? 3x minus 4 and 3x plus 10. Now what are the adjacent angles? Adjacent are the angles which are side by side, not the opposite ones. Diagonal wale nahi, side by side, okay? Now we can draw it here and here We can draw it here and here, wherever we want to. So I'll use these two places. One is here 3x minus 4, this angle. The other adjacent angle can be here 3x plus 10. As you remember that the adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary, that is on adding they give you 180 degree, right? So I'll write it down here as 3x minus 4 in one bracket plus 3x plus 10 will be supplementary, which is equal to 180 degree. Right? Now let's add them up. 3x plus 3x will give you 6x. Minus 4 and plus 10 will give you plus 6. Equals to 180 degree. Right? 6 will go on to the other side. It will become minus 6. And when you remove 6 from 180, it will give you 174. Right? What will be the value of x? X will be equal to 174 upon 6. Right? 6 2s is 12. So we'll write on 2 here. Okay. 5 is left. So we'll copy down 5. 6 9s is 54. So 29 degree is the value of x here. Now we don't have to just find the value of x. We have to actually find out the angles. What were the angles? The angle were 3x minus 4 and 3x plus 10. So we are actually going to put this value here. So 3 into x means 3 into 29 minus 4. Okay. And for the other angle, what we can do is 3 into x plus 10 means 3 into 29 plus 10. So see, we can actually multiply 3 into 29, but I'll tell you a short trick. 29 is close to 30, right? 30 into 3 gives you 90. But 29 is short of 30 by 1. So 3 times we'll remove from 90. So 90 minus 3 will give you 87. So 87 plus 10, this will give you 97. So this is the value of the second angle. Whereas for the first angle, this is again 3 into 29 will give you 87 minus 4, which will be equal to what? Which will be equal to 83. So these are the two angles that were required for this question. And this is your answer. I hope you understood this. Just we have to use a simple property that the adjacent angles are supplementary. When you add them up, it gives you a sum of 180 degree. Okay, let's move on to the next question now. So question number 4 says the sum of two angles of a quadrilateral is 160 degree. Okay. The other two angles are in the ratio 2:3. Find the angles. Okay. Now, as we know, the sum of angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree, right? So if I add up all the angles and I put it equal to how much? 360 degree. Now there are 4 angles in a quadrilateral, right? So it's saying already it has told us the sum of two angles is already how much? 160 degree. So the first two angles I'm writing down 160 degree, right? As I told you with the ratio questions, you have to add x to the ratio. The other two angles are in the ratio 2 and 3. So we'll write down here 2x and 3x. So we have a total of 4 angles. The first two angles are 160, the other angles are 2x and 3x. And on adding, it gives us 360 degree, right? 2x and 3x will give us 5x. So 5x will remain here. Let's take 160 on the other side of the equation. It will become minus 160. So 360 minus 160 will give you how much? See, 0, 0, 6, 6 is also 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this will give you 200. 5x comes out to be 200. Now what will be the value of x? Very easy. I know you also know. 200 by 5. 5 4s is 20. So 4 and 0 copy. So 40 degree is the value of x. Now we don't have to just find the value of x. We have to actually find the angles. Okay. So these angles are 2 in the ratio 2:3. So what does this mean? It means that we have to find the value of 2x and 3x. So 2 multiplied by 40 will give you 80 degree, and 3 multiplied by 40 will give you 120 degree. Now to just check whether this answer is right or wrong, you need to check whether the sum of all the angles of a quadrilateral is 360 or not. So the sum of first two angles is already 160 given to us. So let's write down 160 here. The other two angles are what? 80 and 120. 80 and 120 will give you 200. So let's check. So on adding, this gives us 360 degree. So yes, these two answers are right. 80 degree and 120 degree. Alright. Now let's move on to the next question. So in question number 5, a figure is given to you, as you can see. Then this figure is saying ABCD is a parallelogram. Find the value of x, y, z as the 3 variables are there in the figure, right? Now, a parallelogram means which has equal and opposite sides parallel to each other, right? So what does this mean? That side AD will be parallel to side CB or BC. And similarly, side AB will be parallel to side DC. So let's make them parallel here now. Now, as you remember, we have studied the parallelogram properties and we have also studied the parallel line properties. So if this angle is 110 degree, right? The angle Z is on a straight line with this. So angle Z and 110 form a linear pair. So what does this mean? We'll write Z plus 110 will give us 180 degree, as in a linear pair the sum of angle is 180 degree. So what will be the value of Z? Z will be 180 minus 110, which will give you 70 degree. So the value of Z is 70 degree. As you remember the property in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. So what does this mean? If Z is 70 degree, angle P will also be 70 degree. But you need to make sure while solving this in your examination, you make sure you write down this property that opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal, because in these kind of questions, not only your answer, but your steps, your reasoning carries marks. Okay, so you need to write down that property that opposite angles are equal. Now, once we have this angle is 70, this angle is also 70, I need to find out the value of y or x, any one of them first. So I'll go with y first. Okay. As we know that the adjacent angles in a parallelogram are equal to 180 degree. So angle y plus 70 degree, that is angle z, is equal to how much? 180 degree. What are the adjacent angles? Adjacent angles वो होते हैं जो साथ साथ में होते हैं, ठीक है? Not the opposite ones. Opposite ones are with the diagonals. These are adjacent. Y and z is adjacent. Z and x is adjacent. Okay. So addition of adjacent angles in a parallelogram is 180 degree. So we added them up and we place them equal to 180 degree. So y will be equal to what? Y will be 180 minus 70, which will give you 110 degree. Right. So in place of y, we will write down 110 degree. Now if y is 110 degree, then x is the opposite angle to it. So x will also become 110 degree. Okay? But then again, you need to write down this reason that opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal. I'm writing it short, but you have to write down properly in words. Okay? I hope you have understood this question. Just two properties. Adjacent angle sum is 180 and opposite angles are equal. That's all. Now let's move on to the next question. Now let's look at question number 6. Now question number 6 says hope is a parallelogram. Hope means mean, but here hope means a parallelogram. Alright. Find the measure of angles x, y and z in the figure. State the property used to find them. So in this question, it is telling you that you need to tell the properties that you have used. As I already told you, कि आपको properties लिखनी ही लिखनी है. Whether the question is asking you or not, you make sure you write down the properties that you are using. Okay. Now this angle is given to you as 70 degree. Okay. You see this is a parallelogram. So these two sides are parallel to each other, right? Now this complete angle will be equal to this angle, as we know the properties of a parallel line, right? So if this is 70 degree, this complete angle will also be 70 degree. So what can I write? 70 degree is here divided into two parts, that is 40 plus z. Right? So what will be the value of z? Z will be 70 minus 40, which will give you 30 degree. So z value is 30 degree. Now, we need to find out what? We need to find out x and we need to find out y. Now, if you remember, as we studied in the previous question, the adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. That is, this complete angle 70 plus this angle x is equal to 180 degree because they both are adjacent angles. So, write down x plus 70 is equal to how much? 180 degree. Now one more thing to do with these questions, always when you're writing these values, you also need to name the angles, okay? For example, if right now I'm just writing it direct, but if you have angle x, you would actually write down angle PEH. I'll just write it here, angle PEH. For this angle which we have used 70, you have to write down EHO. Okay, this is how, if you will write down everything step by step, you can make sure, you know, that you get all the marks in the question. No marks will be deducted if you write down properly step by step. Okay. So you also need to name the angles, okay, according to the figure. So this is x, this is 70. which is giving you equal to 180. So x will be how much? X will be 180 minus 70 will be equal to 110. So x value comes out to be 110. Now, as we already studied that EH and side PO are parallel to each other, right? And if you see this HP, which is the diagonal of this parallelogram, is actually working as a transversal. Okay, and we know when a transversal is there between the parallel lines, we have alternate interior angles. For example, here 40 degree and Y are alternate interior angles. Okay, now in alternate interior angles and parallel lines, they are equal. So what does this mean? Y will be equal to 40 degree. So what is the reason we need to write down? We need to write down alternate interior angles between parallel lines EH and PO. Okay, therefore Y will be equal to how much? Y will be equal to 40 degree. I hope you have understood this. Now I just want to state one point here, that this is not the only way to do this. There are a couple of other methods to do this question as well. If you're using other method, that's also right, but the answers will be the same. Okay, let's see the next question. Now question number 7, as you can see in the figure, is very similar to question number 6. Now what I want you to do is pause the video, take 1 minute or 1.5 minutes at max, solve this question, and then after that replay the video and see your answer. Now on solving, the values that you should get as your answer, x should be 25, y should be 45, and z should be 110 degree. Now let's move on to the next question. Let's look at question number 8 now. So question number 8 says one of the angles of a parallelogram is 70 degree. Alright. Find the measure of the remaining angles of a parallelogram. Now remember, in these type of questions, a figure would not be given to you. I have drawn this figure so as to make your understanding better. So we have named the parallelogram as ABCD, and I have put one of the angle, that is angle D, as 70 degree. Alright. Now as this is a parallelogram and we know that the opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal, right? So this means that angle B is 70 degree. Okay, now you will write down angle B will be equal to angle D, as they are opposite angles of a parallelogram, and opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal. So you need to put a bracket here. You need to write down the reason: opposite angles of parallelogram are equal. I've written it down in the short form, but you have to write down in proper words. Okay. Then we need to find out angle A and angle C, right? Because these together form the 4 angles. So as we can see, angle B and angle C are the adjacent angles, right? And we know that the sum of adjacent angles is supplementary, that is, it is equal to 180 degree. So angle B is how much? 70. I'll write down 70 here. Angle C is, we don't know, so we'll let it be angle C only. This is 180 degree. Angle C will be equal to how much, Vacha? It will be 180 minus 70, which will give you 110 degree. So in place of C, I write down 110 degree. Now if you see, angle C is opposite to angle A, right? And angle A will therefore be equal to angle C, because they are opposite angles of a parallelogram, and opposite angles are always equal in the case of a parallelogram. So angle A will also be 110 degree, and then you have to write down the same reason there as well. Okay, so these are the 4 angles of a parallelogram. Now let's look at question number 9. Now let's look at question number 9. So question number 9 says 3 angles of a quadrilateral are equal. Okay. And the measure of 4th angle is 120 degree. Now we know in a quadrilateral there are 4 angles, right? So in these 4 angles he's saying 3 are equal. So we don't know what are those 3 angles. So let's do one thing. Let's assume them as x. Okay. So here I'll write down x. Here also I'll write down x. Here also I'll write down x. The 4th angle is given to us as 120. So in place of the 4th angle, I'll write down 120 degree. Okay. So as we know, the angle sum property of a quadrilateral, which says the sum of angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. So what does this mean? If I add up all the angles, this should give me 360 degree. So we'll write down x plus x plus x plus 120 will give me 360 degree, right? X plus x plus x is 3x. 120, let's take it on to the other side. It will become minus 120. So 360 minus 120 will give us 240. And x will be equal to what? 3 will go into the denominator. This will become 240 by 3, and we know 3 8 is 24. So x value comes out to be 80 degree. So the measure of the rest 3 angles of a quadrilateral, or the measure of the 3 equal angles, is how much? 80 degree. Now how do we make sure that our answer is correct or not? So 83 is 240. 240 plus 120 is giving us 360. So this means our answer is correct. So children, I hope you understood the video lecture series or the exercise we did on quadrilaterals and parallelograms. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, keep studying. I'm Daljinder from Winning Edge, your mentor for mathematics.